Hey, it's me. I did it. I quit my job.
When I think about the clothes, I always think of Terry Garr right away, because that was a standout. Julie wore a plastic raincoat, and that was indicated in the script. Joe Minion didn't mention too many things except the clear plastic raincoat, and it was pouring out besides, so it was practical.
What do you want me to do about it?
Well, let's go have a drink. Let's celebrate. Tier 3 is open.
Look, lady, I don't know what your problem is, but I've got to get over to that bar, get my keys, so I can get home.
I made the yellow dress. It was just a very simple sheath dress. It was kind of generic for the 60s if you were a little mod. But the yellow, I'm pretty sure that Jeffrey Townsend and Marty came up with that idea.
I can get free copies whenever I want to.
Gee whiz.
Hey, what is that? Gee whiz. I mean, are you humoring me? I don't have to take that kind of shit, you know? I mean, what is it with people today? You can't say anything without getting some kind of a...
I remember talking about Alice in Wonderland and how the taxi ride seems to be the white rabbit, and that sensation of a kind of skid mark that the taxi leaves on the entire night. And that turned into yellow sort of recurring as a color.
Now, first of all, you're not stupid.
Look, I have trouble figuring out the tax on checks. So what?
There was zero budget for building sets on After Hours. For Julie's apartment, for Tom, the bartender's apartment, and for Gail, the Mr. Softy truck driver's apartment. I found a little residential loft that had street windows and then I think 2 windows on an air shaft on the other side, but it was pretty small. And with my construction coordinator, Tony Dunn, we crafted the design of a set of flats that could be moved and repositioned up against these windows to become 3 different apartments. You could get outside the apartment and sit and have a conversation and satisfy the sort of claustrophobic issue of trying to work in these tiny spaces.
I'm an ice cream vendor, Mr. Softy.
What? You misunderstood me. I didn't ask what you did for a living. I said you wouldn't believe what I've been through tonight.
It's not boring.
The color motif of most of the movie was black and yellow, which represents in New York taxicabs, and also caution tape, do not cross this line. Gail, Catherine O'Hara, the greatest. A yellow shirt, it was bright yellow, and she had black jeans, and there were a few punk accessories. We put a patch on her sleeve that said King Kong Company, which was an outright reference to Taxi Driver, because Travis Bickle has that on his jacket. But she was she was Mr. Softy Driver, but she was pretty intimidating, Griffin.
Come on. What's the matter?
Shut up.
What?
Shut up.
What's wrong?
You're dead, pal.
Griffin's suits and all of the gyrations we went through to find that suit, and enough multiples of that suit because of the rain and the plaster and the gradual distressing of the suit.
I remember being in awe of Rita's handling of the fact that you've got a movie that shoots way out of sequence, and you have to have a character in this nasty beige suit in varying stages, and she had these suits that looked permanently wet. They weren't actually wet, but it looked like the suit was currently wet, and it was dry as a bone. I was happy to be allowed to draw the shark biting the penis and the bathroom graffiti in a kind of wannabe Keith Haring way. In the script, when it came to Club Berlin, you had this nightclub above a basement, and we discovered the main space of Club Berlin. It was just kind of a startling find. It was empty and unused, but it still had a big bar in the center. And there's the basement right there that looked so close to what I had pictured for this basement. The manhole originally in the script was just a window of some kind. And I was walked over toward the street side to say, obviously there's no window because that isn't really a thing. And then I look up And I realized I'm looking at a manhole from the underside. And taking that to Marty was really a whole lot of fun. The idea that those 3 locations could actually be in one place. It just changes things for the actors. It changes things for shooting. It's such a treat, and it just never happens. It was one of those little kind of halo moments for After Hours.
Clarence Felder, the bouncer at Club Berlin, wore a Checkpoint Charlie Berlin t-shirt, which obviously referred to the East Germany, West Germany, that belonged to one of the crew members. But it was something that Marty requested, I think. Checkpoint Charlie. They don't want to let Griffin in.
May I enter?
I can't let you in at the moment.
But we needed a crowd of punk kids for the Mohawk night scene. So on a Sunday, we all went down to CBGB's and we asked the kids, hey, you want to be in a Scorsese movie? And they go, well, would I get like paid? And we said, yes, yes. And they all showed up and they all wore their own clothes. That was our way around having to dress those hundreds of extras. Marty wanted a Russian uniform. He wanted the image of the director controlling the crowd with a spot. It was kind of a last-minute decision. Well, we found a real Russian uniform.
Early in the script, there's a reference to plaster of Paris, bagel and cream cheese paperweights. And I remember our art department experimenting with cream cheese in blocks or just smears, and the process of trying to get to the right one, the right paperweight.
Do you know what this is?
No.
When it came time to develop the sculpture that Kiki Bridges is working on with paper mache, there is a scripted reference to it reminding Paul of Edvard Munch. So it was one of the things in the movie that got a kind of full-fledged sketch done to make sure that we're all talking about the same thing. So I remember working with a sculptor named Nora Chavushin, still a working artist to this day. When Griffin has to carry the statue, I wanted that shape to be interesting to look at. I wanted there to be an interesting way that this thing envelops Griffin, Paul Hackett, that it kind of wraps around him like a piggyback, but still made sense on its own on the ground as a pose. So I remember visiting her and saying, so can you pick it up? Can you put it on your back?
I'm just grateful to have done After Hours. I think we all enjoyed making it. It had punks and Griffin besieged with all these problems. It was a fun movie to make.
Just throw down the keys. Sorry, be careful. That's right. Give it a good throw. There you go.